Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. I thought I'd respond to a few comments. Okay, we had quite a few comments on some of the more emotive, shall we say, talks that I gave about Americans, about the Jewish people, and well, some of them said. Yes, very reflective about the Jews and what they did in music. Let me just say that if I choose a particular subject, I do know that there's much more to it than I can possibly deal with in 10 or 15 minutes. Wasn't that one of that was one of the American comedians used to say that? Okay, well, we've got 3 minutes left. Let's discuss the world. And especially with relation to the Jewish race, there's so much to deal with, and that is way beyond the scope of a 10 or 15 minute waffle on from me. And all I intended to do was show that, in fact, what it would have meant to our lives not to have those as performers, writers, artists, actors, directors, and so on. And that was the intention there. And in the same way, it was the intention when I spoke about Americans. Now, I do know that the situation in America has changed drastically in the last year, 2 years. 8 years, and very often I feel that we don't really even know what the real situation is. We know that things are in a mess there, and the nation is more divided now than it has ever been in its entire history. I do think that that's true. You've got brother against brother, sister against sister, family members against each other for their political views. I think that is, well, the American Civil War was probably different, the North against the South, but I think that this has become a bigger mess than anybody ever thought it would be, and all I'm really talking about is muscle cars, Harley Davidsons, jazz, Count Basie, Duke Ellington. I'm not talking about the deep political rifts that may exist now. I'm talking about how individuals with incredible talent came forward and made the name American worldwide. It's good and bad. That's why I said love them or hate them. And you could say that the same title would apply to the Jews. Love them or hate them. And you could also say that for the British and the Australians and the Germans and all of them. Love them or hate them. It really is down to your viewpoint. Now, where was one that did make me laugh? One that really made me laugh was from a subscriber who had counted how many children she counted on the back of our truck, and apparently she counted 32. Well done. I don't know how you kept them from moving while you did that, but I believe you. I know because every month or every week I do that job. And it's both rewarding and tough and worrying and so on. But anyway, I thought that was music. I thought that was interesting. Somebody else wants to supply the Superman team with some t-shirts, and we're going to be welcoming him to come and visit us, and he'll be able to get those t-shirts done in Cebu, I believe, fairly quickly. And this is for the Superman team, especially for the Superman team. Who could possibly argue with the fact that they deserve a special recognition, and they do. So, what else can I say? Well, really it sort of had quite a few very, what can I say, controversial things that were said. There's one here, even without reading it, it was Freedom, I think it's called Freedom United, and they send me things which I read with interest. And it says, news, the politicians funded by slavery profits. Boy, has anything ever been more mixed than the history of the human race. We had some of the greatest minds, greatest mathematicians were the biggest slavers. And so much came from the American history, so much came from Indian history. I'm not talking about American Indian, I'm talking about from the Indian continent. And let's face it, so much was really created at the start. I always think that sometimes when you think about how something terrible happened, and then from that came some great thing. And I think about the pearl, how a pearl is created. A pearl is created when a tiny speck of grit gets into the oyster, and in order to deal with the irritation of that, the oyster coats it in what is mother of pearl. So from something that is terrible comes the idea that something wonderful can come. So yes, let me see if this is the big one. This one is on Jews and their impact on the world, and I just pulled this up. I haven't read it, so whatever happens. Jewish people, as far as I know, help each other tremendously, lifting each other from any hardships, nurture their children as a priority, and are united in their beliefs in God. Thank you. What else can we say? Well, this will be, let me see what this one says. It's about time to repair Nanai's house, especially the communal family kitchen where nice happy stories take place, and we agree. And really the area that we're doing out the front of the house is being done with the intention that it will eventually this year lead to rebuilding, remodeling Nanai's house. We're listening. You'll probably notice that instead of working from my phone, I'm actually working this time from the computer. I finally got it. What else can I say? A new comment on Beth saying it's time to take a bath after 5 days. So Max Miser says, headaches from not eating enough rice and at the wrong time. First time I've heard that one. Yeah, me too. Right, we're in a hilltop community, and Nanai's religion, apart from the Christian religion, is rice. So he says too much rice is not good for the body, especially white rice. I hope you get back to health soon. I have to say one thing in defense of the rice that we eat, and I eat a pretty large amount of rice too, but one thing that we do is it's not really processed at all. It's not truly white rice. So what happens, worst thing that happens is, of course, that it needs to have, as I've been told many times, the soil here is the same crop over and over and over and over and over again, does not do anything but deplete the soil. But I'm a city boy, okay? So I take that on its face value. But so they use fertilizer in order to gain a crop. But then when the crop is actually harvested, there's very little done to it other than thresh it and take off all of that which is not rice. Notice how technical I got there. But they have a threshing machine, which our Beth's brother has, which was given by Ross, a subscriber of ours, because he felt some sympathy for the fact that Manorado has a disabled son and he takes care of him pretty well with the aid of other children. So that was another one there. So the rice that we have is actually better than the rice you buy in your shops, that's for